Welcome back to another episode of Coaching in COVID, but this week it is Hired in COVID with Justin Wood, the new men's cross country head coach, a member of the track and field staff. Justin, welcome to Hanover and your home in Vermont.
Yeah, thanks. Really happy to be here and chat with you.
Well, you are coming from California, and as we are recording this, it is snowing outside, so that is one of your first major introductions to the Northeast. But you come to enjoy it here. You're living in the woods. You got to get used to it. But what's it been like the first couple of months that you've been here in the Upper Valley?
Yeah, well, there have been two transitions. One was moving across country. Packed up my dog and drove cross country, and I lived in a hotel for a little while, and then an Airbnb while I closed on my house here in Quechee, and now I'm adjusting to home ownership. And the first thing that happened when I pulled up the U-Haul was that it got stuck halfway up my driveway. And so then I had to call a tow truck to tow my own U-Haul out to then move into my new house. So, but I'm enjoying the change of seasons, having grown up in the Northeast. It actually is nice to be back here. And I'm embracing winter, as I know that's important around here. And then the other transition is just into actually coaching and get to know these guys and building a relationship with them. But I've been able to do some coaching, and we've been in Leverone 6 days a week now, putting in some hours and working on getting better.
Talk a little bit about what it's been like making the transition to Dartmouth and coaching, but also following someone like Barry Harwick, who not only was the director and an alum, but was like really well loved. What's it been like, following in his footsteps, and also kind of, making your own, blazing your own trail here with this program?
Yeah, so Barry has been great. He reached out to me pretty early on, and him and I were able to chat on a call. And then we actually, when I came out here to look for homes in late November, him and I met up and went for a walk around the cross-country course, socially distanced, of course. But it was just nice to be able to talk with him and pick his brain a little bit. And since we've stayed in touch as well and talked multiple times. So I respect Barry, and he did an incredible job, had an incredible amount of success. His job of recruiting to me was really impressive, because we've got a lot of talent for sure. And so I'm thankful for that and grateful for that. In terms of transitioning in, I've spent a lot of time working with the guys just to help them understand what my philosophy is and how we're going to train and some of the changes that I want to make. But also I've been talking with them to find out what really works at Dartmouth and what do we not want to change? What do we want to continue? And then I've been reaching out one by one to any alums that I can get in contact with, and I've been picking their brains too, what worked for them and what maybe, would they suggest, of course, because hindsight is 2020, what could be a little bit better. And I'm just collecting information, and I'm not making any big changes. I'm doing what I do when it comes to programming and the actual day-to-day coaching. But then I'm making plans for the bigger picture. What do we want to do in the fall and beyond, and how are we going to do it, and how can we put in the right work to be successful when we do get a normal season in front of us.
Obviously, you're going to go a little bit more in depth with your, some of your student athletes here, as you just mentioned, but talk a little bit about what that philosophy is that you just spoke of.
Well, my philosophy has a couple different components. Number one, I want to develop them as people. So there's some character development in there. I challenge them to be better, and I challenge them to be coachable and to work hard and to compromise and to sacrifice and be committed. I'm a big accountability coach. If we say we want to be great, then let's do everything that we need to do to be great. And I ask them to hold each other accountable to that and hold me accountable to that. And of course, I hold them to that high standard too. And then I look to teach my athletes how to train, how to be elite level distance runners. teach them about the lifestyle and about restoration, all the supporting things that we can do. And then the actual philosophy, coaching philosophy, training philosophy centers around developing athletes that race distance events. So the other side of that is coaching 5K runners or cross country runners. And I think about it a little bit differently. I want to see them develop as athletes. So they're well trained to a point where they could race down all the way to the 800 or the mile and all the way up to 10K. And obviously they're going to be stronger in certain events. And I want them to be strong in the weight room. And, I want them to feel like they have confidence to race these different distances. And I could continue to expand more and more, but I want athletes that can race, not runners that run.
Building kind of off of what you just said there with your philosophy about athletes, I've always thought that your position and Courtney Jaworski's position, who is the women's cross country head coach, is a little bit more challenging maybe than some of the other coaches in different sports, not only here at Dartmouth, but, around the country, in that, running is not just running when we're talking about cross country and track and field. How do you go about maybe preparing for the athletes that you want to be successful in cross country and track and field, and both?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are two sides to it. One is that it is challenging, right? Because we're in season longer than any other athlete, I think, in collegiate sports. We race 3 seasons and we have to prepare all summer for that. And the other side of it, I think, is that it's just more opportunity, and the opportunities that these athletes get are incredible, because let's just say you have a rough cross country season. Well, you got indoors to make it up. And if indoors is rough, you got outdoors to make it up. But that doesn't happen in field hockey, right? You got to wait an entire year before you have another opportunity. So I think the key to success is in programming and looking first at a 4-year block for the number of years that we have these athletes, and preparing them as far out as possible from when we want them to be most successful. So what the athletes do in June and July and August truly matters for November racing, but that also ties into what they're going to do in the winter and what they're going to do in the spring, and it spreads out over the entire 4 years. So that's the way I look at it in a bigger picture, and it comes back to my point of development.
Last question, we'll leave you with this. What was it about Dartmouth that piqued your interest when this position became open, that kind of got you interested, involved, applying, and then really sold you on it when you were involved in the interview process?
The tradition of excellence within the program, to me, stood out. It's incredible to go back and look at all these athletes that have come through the program and have had success at the Ivy League level and the national championship level. I mean, the program's like 150 years old, something like that. And to me, that's really interesting. And I am a big culture guy as well. And so when there is a tradition and culture of excellence, that's something that I want to be a part of. But literally every step along the way, from the very first bit of research that I did to the first conversations that I had, all the way to the end of the process, Dartmouth continued to align more and more for me in terms of the location, because of my lifestyle, because of I'm ambitious. I want to be working with the best, and I want to take this philosophy that I have and apply it with the very best athletes that I can apply with. And I also, I want to win. And it's like this challenge for me to figure out how to crack the code of winning at Dartmouth. And so I just think it aligned with my values, with my ambitions, aligned with me personally and professionally. And the people really stood out to me as well in terms of just being really welcoming and the types of people that I would want to work with on a long-term basis. And the support that we would need stood out to me, that we have that here to be great.
Justin, that is great to hear. Thank you for sitting down with us. We really enjoyed it, but also really excited, like you said, when you're finally able to get out there and have your student athletes perform at a high level. It's all very exciting. The trajectory and the kind of the outlook for the track and field and cross country programs is really high, and we expect great things from you. So thank you for joining us. Good luck. And this has been Hired in COVID with Justin Wood. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.